And good afternoon, everybody. Welcome back to my channel. I have been doing a little bit of research online to see what type of videos that I should be bringing to you. And obviously you can see my everyday life to life, but today I'm going to be talking to you about one of the reasons why so many flight attendants quit their jobs the very first year that they are flying. Again, I do have my trusty notebook here, so if you see me looking down, it is only so that I can reference back to my notes. I just want to make sure that I cover everything that I have written down for you guys. So I think one of the biggest misconceptions and myths out there about being a flight attendant is the glamorous life and also the pay that comes with being a flight attendant. Now, if you look at my video that I did a few days ago, I was talking about being on reserves, the real behind the scenes about being a reserve flight attendant. And in there, I give an example of, it's just an example of how much you can make as a flight attendant, not for any particular company at all. This is just an example that was easy math for me to do. The example I gave was $25 an hour and a base pay of 80 hours of guaranteed pay. Now, in my example, if you, whether you work or not, whether you fly for a whole month, if your company guarantees you 80 hours a month, and you're making 25, the end is $2,000. Now, $2,000, that is gross pay. Keep in mind that out of that $2,000, you are paying your 401k, any taxes, any health insurance, car payment, rent, utilities, cable, cell phone, gasoline. These are basic necessities that most everybody has. So keep that in mind, $2,000 minus all those bills. If you are doing the math, depending on who you are and what your circumstances are, there isn't that much money left over. So the trick when you are a flight attendant in the beginning, your very first year when you're on reserve, or for however many years you're on reserve, the trick is to try to get more than 80 hours guaranteed pay. That's when you're going to start making enough money to live on. So that's my tip right there, is do everything that you can to pick up enough hours to supplement those 80 hours. Some people get secondary jobs, and some flight attendants, hustle and bustle and trade shifts, and, they're networking with other flight attendants in their company, and they're trying to pick up more and more and more hours. So that is one way to get over that $2,000 80-hour guarantee that you may get. And also you have to remember that most airlines pay twice a month, on the 15th and the 30th. That was the case with my previous airline as well. So I'm guessing that's probably a standard amongst all the other airlines as well. So then, you have to divide that $2,000 in two. Okay, now let's break down a real example of a flight. And then I'm going to tell you exactly how you get paid. Now, flight attendants get paid for flight hours. And what that means is you are getting paid from the time the door closes after you board until the door opens again when you're ready to deplane. That's your flight time. So, for example, I had a flight the other day, and my flight time, my check-in was around 2:30 in the afternoon. My release time was 9:45 in the evening. So that makes it a total day hour of 9 hours and 15 minutes total. So that is the total time that I would be spending working that day. Now, if you calculate the time from that you're getting paid for the flight, the actual flight time was only 6 hours. So you're on duty for 9 and a little bit, but you're actually getting a credit of 6 hours of flight time. So, now that is an example. Those 6 hours, that's what you're really getting paid those $25 an hour for. Not all those extra couple of hours that you're on the ground, either pre-flighting or working on your galley or boarding or anything else. So that is a flight example of everything going according to plan. Now, out of those 80 hours that your company guaranteed, they're going to deduct 6 hours. So now you need to fly 74. So the trick is to get more than 80 hours for the whole month. And the flight that you just did accredits you 6 hours. That's the flight time that you just did. So now you are at 74 hours. So now you need to work 74 hours total in order to overpass that 80-hour mark that we had talked about. So this is just a tiny example of one flight that was 9 hours. You're getting paid for 6, or you're getting a credit of 6 hours. Okay, now this is where it gets interesting. I don't know about you guys, but sometimes airlines have delays. Whether it's a mechanical delay, whether it's cleaning crew delay, it could be staffing delay. Somebody's running late. Somebody times out. Let's say the pilots time out and they can't fly anymore for the day. So then they have to call somebody else. Same thing with the flight attendants. We do have a timeout. You can't work more than a certain amount of hours because of fatigue. You want to be alert, and you want to make sure that you're taking care of your passengers. There's weather. I don't know if I said that already, but weather happens all the time, and it could be your city, wherever you're flying out of, may have beautiful weather. However, on the way there may be a storm, there may be fog wherever you're supposed to land. It just depends. So take into account a day where things don't go right. I have had, personally, I think the longest I've been delayed on a flight was about 5 or 6 hours that we're just sitting around for whatever reason. So keep that in mind, guys, that a 9-hour day could potentially become a much, much longer day than that. You could be working 14 hours a day. You could be working 15, 16 hours a day, depending on what is causing your delay. Now, remember, your flight time is only 6 hours. And now your day has been extended from a 9-hour day to a 12, 13, 14-hour days. Those hours that you're on the ground, that you're not flying, that those doors are not closed on the airplane and you're not flying, those hours you're not getting paid that $25 an hour. So I think this is why so many flight attendants, when you hear about how much you're getting paid, everybody's like, awesome, $25 an hour. They guarantee so many hours, whether you fly or not, and that's all good. But it is those very, very long days that make working as a flight attendant very, very difficult. Because if you're, let's say, working a 15-hour day because of the delays, but your flight time was only 6 hours, you're getting a credit for only 6 hours, but you actually worked 15 hours that day. And some flight attendants, and I've seen their rants on YouTube, the videos, they're like, oh, hell no, I can't, that's too much. So my advice to you guys is you have to love what you do. I love being a flight attendant. I have the type of life right now where I have extreme support from friends and family, and, if I need something, they're there for me. So I have the privilege to be able to take that kind of pay cut from what I used to do before to become a flight attendant, because I don't know if I've said this before, I used to be a flight attendant a long time ago. And my previous company, I used to fly international all the time, and I was gone all the time. And it was very similar to what I'm doing now. However, now I don't get to go international. Everything I do is domestic. But having said that, when I was a flight attendant many years ago, I fell in love with the industry. I was like, this is what I want to do. And then once I wasn't flying any longer, every time a plane would go over in the sky, I would just look up and I was like, I used to be up there. And so one day I said, I would say every single time, when somebody asks, what I like, or, if I like my job or whatever, it's like, yeah, I like my job. I like what I'm doing. However, one of these days I'm going to return to the skies. And, I started applying to companies and I ended up here. So if your dream is to become a flight attendant, do so. It is so worthwhile, but it is a different lifestyle than what you may be used to. So I think a couple of tips that I can offer you, if you are still looking to be a flight attendant, knowing now the realities of someone who is like on first year pay or reserve. Number one, I think it would be a really good idea for you to have some money saved up before you go to training. A lot of companies do not pay, they don't pay you a salary while you're in training. So keep that in mind. While you're in training, you may not be earning any money at all whatsoever. And then once you start flying, you may not go over those guaranteed hours that the company might guarantee you. And so it may be a little bit difficult in the very beginning. So keep that in mind. It's also good to have a wide and good network of friends and family that are there to help and support you in your dreams to become a flight attendant until you get nice and stable. And last but not least, guys, love what you do. If you want to be a flight attendant, go ahead and do so. Remember, customer service is what we're doing. Obviously, we're safety for professionals, and we have to be there in case anything happens on board. We have to think quick on our feet. But for the most part, there are no emergencies every single day. So you have to be able to love working with people. Think of the airplane as your home, and the passengers are your guests coming into your house. Make sure you greet them with a smile, say hello, thank you, help them with their bags, especially the older ones that, have a hard time putting things up. I know that our backs are a big issue, and we don't want to go out on disability for trying to help somebody with a huge big bag, but if you can, please do so. And then at the end of the day, when you are deplaning, make sure you thank each and every single one of your customers for being there and for choosing your airline that day. So again, guys, that is my video for today. Thank you so much for tuning in. Remember, this channel is all about flight attending 101, really. All the stuff that they don't tell you. All the good stuff, too. I will be making more videos. If you have any suggestions about what you would like to see, let me know in the comments down below. Again, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys on the next one. Bye-bye.